Hey, what the hell are you doing? How are you? October continues, and I have been picking a horror movie a day to review for you, or at least talk about. I've been doing a video a day for October. 31 days in October, 31 movies to talk about. Horror movies are awesome; they're the best. And so I have randomly selected a bunch of horror movies out of my closet. Oh, wait a minute. COVID, and I've chosen to talk about a different movie every day throughout the entire month of October. Please donate if you can to patreon.com/NickDShow. Little as $3 a month will help a lot. Everything that I do is free. You get some bonus material. So please donate if you can. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Check out my podcast. The Nick D Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Just Google it. The Nick D Podcast. It's available on every single platform ever, on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, everywhere. RadioMisfits.com. A live version of that podcast will be happening at Zanies in Rosemont with me and Esmeralda on stage and you in the audience. Surprise guests. Prizes to give away, interactive stuff. We're going to record it. You'll be a part of history. So get your tickets now. It is Tuesday, November 15th. Tuesday, November 15th. Us live at Zanies in Rosemont. Check out rosemont.zanies.com. Rosemont.zanies.com. Get your tickets now. Reserve your seats now. Tuesday, November 15th. Rosemont Zanies. Okay, are we ready? We are on number 19. October 19th, 19th movie. Here we go. Marking it off. Let me reach in. Again, these are all random. Just grabbed a stack, and I don't know which one I'm going to be talking about. Oh, okay. The Fog. John Carpenter's The Fog. Again, signed by John Carpenter. I got to meet John Carpenter and hang out with him. Got to interviewed him on my radio show a couple of times. Did his Q&A when he was kind enough to come to the Flashback Horror Convention weekend. And so everything that I've ever had that's John Carpenter related has been signed. He was kind enough to sign all of it. I mean, he was very patient with me because I showed up with, 47 pounds of shit that was stacked up to the ceiling for him to sign. He signed every single thing. So DVDs, posters, one-sheets, everything that I have that has anything to do with John Carpenter, he signed. Got pictures with him, hung out with him, did his Q&A. Again, my eternal thanks to Mike and Mia Kurz, who run the Flashback Horror Convention. I've been a part of it for 20 years as a host and helping out and doing Q&As and hanging out and introducing things and all kinds of stuff. Been a part of the family of Flashback for years, and because of that association and my radio show, I was able to meet and hang out with and do the Q&A for John Carpenter and get my stuff. So, okay, The Fog. The Fog was John Carpenter's follow-up to Halloween. And everybody who expected Halloween was very disappointed. Lots of people didn't like this movie when it first came out. It is a beautiful, moody ghost story. And again, as years have gone by, is looked back now with much more reverence than it got when it first came out. When it first came out, people were expecting the same sort of kind of relentless suspense, slasher, killer kind of stuff that Carpenter did with Halloween. And this is a completely different kind of movie than Halloween. You know that if you saw it. This is a very moody, very, beautiful ghost story. It's all set up at the beginning when John Houseman, the great John Houseman, is sitting by a fire, a campfire on the beach, telling a ghost story to a group of young kids. And that sets the style of the movie. That's what Carpenter is doing. He is telling you a very moody, very sort of subtle, haunting, very, spiritual kind of a kind of movie. No, it doesn't have. I mean, it does at the end. The shock and jump scares come in because he had to add that at the end because test screenings didn't go very well. It was a much more subtle movie than it turned out to be. Like the last 15 minutes, there's like some gore stuff that Rob Bottin did with worms in the face and stuff like that, and some jump scares that weren't in the original. He changed the score a little bit to add more jump scares to it. But the original version of the movie was much more subtle than it is now, and it's still, as it is now, the current version of it. It's a very subtle, beautiful, moody horror movie, scary ghost story, very atmospheric. It's not meant to jump scare. There's no big gore in it, no intensity, no slasher shit. This is an atmospheric, beautiful, subtle little ghost story. I love it. The cast is incredible. You got Tom Atkins, who's the king. Jamie Lee Curtis, who's awesome. Her mom, Janet Leigh, is in it. Nancy Loomis is in it. Hal Holbrook is amazing. I mentioned John Houseman. Adrienne Barbeau, who just married John Carpenter at that point. They were married. She's basically the lead in the movie. It's a ghost story, and it's a revenge movie. with beautiful use of cinematography. Dean Cundy shot it. It is a magnificently, beautifully shot film. Beautiful to look at. The cinematography is gorgeous. And it's scary. It's really, really scary. It's about this curse on this town, Antonio Bay, about these sort of like sailors that are going to come back for revenge after their ship had crashed on the rocks. And it's a revenge movie and a ghost story, and beautiful, like beautifully told in a very old-fashioned atmospheric way. It's a throwback to the kind of old, kind of 40s and 50s moody, foggy, misty ghost stories, and that's what he tried to do. But following up Halloween with something as subtle as this was a risky proposition. Didn't really pay off when it first came out, but since then people have grown to love this movie. And again, it's a John Carpenter classic. So I highly recommend it. It's creepy and atmospheric and scary. It's a terrific ghost story. The first 10 minutes of the movie, almost virtually dialogue free, that sets up the whole movie. Beautiful stuff. I love it. Lots of great sequences, lots of scary stuff, very moody. And I have to mention this, it's my favorite score that John Carpenter has ever done. I think it's the most beautiful, the most lush, the moodiest, again, moody, atmospheric. The score is beautiful. I just think it is just one of the most gorgeous and beautiful and simple scores that Carpenter has ever done. Really. I love everything about the score. It's my favorite John Carpenter score ever, and a very good, solid, great, atmospheric, creepy little ghost story. A classic, The Fog. Yes, watch it. Really great stuff. You can't go wrong with John Carpenter. He's the fucking king. All right. More horror movies every day. Huh?